I made a video over the very first Baldur's Gate game, and the reception so far has been incredibly positive. I'd intended to make it for people my age who hadn't had a chance to play the game yet. Instead, it attracted all of you who played the game near its release and were either very nostalgic or just happy to see the younger generations playing a game you hold dear. Most of you were incredibly kind and helpful, almost like an older sibling, but instead of hitting me in the head with a shovel, you were a paragon of support and feedback. Among the many comments, there was a unanimous impression that if I enjoyed the first game, I was in for a real treat with the sequel. And after roughly 30 hours or so, I can confidently say I do not like Baldur's Gate 2. I love it. My time spent in Shadows of Amn was some of the most fun I've ever had in a video game ever. I could spend all day gushing over this game and the many different facets of it that I absolutely fell in love with, but I'd rather just show you right after a quick ad break. One thing you may not know about me is that I'm very passionate about food, but after years of having to hunt down recipes and relentless trips to the grocery stores, I'm officially burnt out on the entire process. That's where today's sponsor, Factor, comes in handy. Yesterday was a long day of editing, and the last thing I wanted to do when I got done was worry about going to the grocery store and cooking food. I cannot begin to describe the amount of relief I felt when I realized a Factor fresh, never frozen meal was waiting on me. Factor works with chefs and dietitians to make sure that your food is not only healthy, but delicious as well. I'm vegetarian, so they sent me the veggie box, but they accommodate anything from calorie smart all the way to keto. Last night I had tamales with sweet potatoes, and look how easy this was to make. Boom, bang, bop, 2 minutes, Bob's your uncle. Everything was seasoned perfectly, and I absolutely destroyed this. My dog was fuming. I gave him absolutely nothing. If you're sick of the stress of meal planning, go to factor75.com or use the link in the description and use code BiscuitSticks50 to get 50% off your next box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code BiscuitSticks50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. These meals were seriously so delicious, so please go check them out to help the channel and of course to help yourself. Thanks again, Factor, for sponsoring this video. Now I'm gonna go slam some of that smoked tofu and bang. I start my adventure by not creating my character, because I am indeed importing Mike Hawk from the first game to Shadows of Amn. Mike is a level 7, chaotic good archer who's fiercely loyal to his friends, makes a killer bowl of mushroom stew, and has an incessant infatuation with femboys. You know, I see a lot of myself in this character. Just a heads up, the game is starting with some pretty heavy spoilers for the first game. You have been warned.
Ah. The child of Baal has awoken.
Yes.
It is time for more experiments.
Bro, am I Griffith? Before long, Imoen, my childhood friend, has broken free from her cage and comes to do the same for us. She's obviously very traumatized as a result of the torture she received from our mysterious captor. But to be honest, it couldn't have been any worse than being raised by Winthrop. Once free, I speak with Jaheira to find that Khalid, her husband, isn't here, but likely somewhere in the compound captured as well. Just next door are my two favorite characters, the legendary Minsk and Boo. Minsk casually explains that in order to avoid capture, his miniature space hamster Boo has literally been hiding in his ass. I confronted him, stating that capture would have likely been a better fate. This perturbs Minsk, and in his blind rage, he manages to rip open the bars of his cage. Jaheira's key is in the next room, where we also arm ourselves for any potential dangers to come. This first dungeon, if we can call it that, is already so filled with a mixture of interesting and horrific things. You can't help but want to explore every single crevice. Cambions, genies, dryads, whatever this thing is. What the fuck is that? It took me almost 3 hours to loot and explore the entire area. I can't cover it all in great detail, but here's the essentials. Me and my friends were captured right outside of Baldur's Gate by a mysterious wizard called Irenicus. During our time here, we were tortured in ways you only hear about in storybooks, with Imoen receiving the worst of it. The prison we're being held in randomly fell under siege by hooded figures, and during the chaos, we've managed to escape. The developers do such an amazing job for building a foundation for despising Irenicus. He keeps dryads as sex slaves, experiments on his lackeys, and worst of all, he slaughtered Khalid and forced Imoen to watch. With the murderer nowhere to be found, we pick up a random bounty hunter and head for the exit. Once outside, Irenicus attempts to stop our escape, only to be confronted by a league of mysterious cowled wizards. Apparently, it's illegal to use magic within the city of Alm. A massive fight breaks out, and Irenicus displays just how powerful he actually is, destroying droves of wizards as they attempt to capture him. He puts up a good fight and eventually gives in after realizing there is almost no end to their forces. Because Imoen was also casting spells, both her and Irenicus are teleported to what we can only assume is some type of prison. Battered, angry, and utterly lost, it's up to our group to save Imoen and bring Irenicus to justice. Chapter 2 is where the game really opens up and likely where you'll spend the majority of your time. It's also as long or as short as you make it. Once you arrive in the slums of Athkatla, the city I'm currently in, a random person offers to help you find Imoen if you can bring him 20,000 gold. It may seem like a lot, but you could easily scrounge that much after just a few missions. Or you could take your time, level up, and enjoy the amazing world that BioWare built. I opted for the latter. It certainly feels urgent to get the money and save Imoen, but they just turned you loose on a D&D playground, and there's no time limit on the quest. So let's go see what trouble our heroes can get into. First things first, I need at least one other party member. I immediately ran into an angry mob who seemed to be burning a drow woman for no other reason than for being a drow. I thought saving someone from racist fanatics would be a good deed, but it ends up dropping the party's reputation. In return, we get ourselves a beautiful drow cleric named Viconia. That's right, this is indeed the same Viconia from the other two games. Now, I should throw her in a ditch before she has a chance to do anything to Shart, but I need her more than I hate her. While wandering around the city, I'm being accosted with side missions, like I have a sign pinned to my forehead that says, "Will adventure for free." This was pretty overwhelming, and once again, I can't cover absolutely everything we did, since it would just take too much time, but I will go over my favorites. By complete accident, I started the Furkrog vs. Garen quest. Looking back, this is not a good mission to start with, considering it's actually pretty difficult, but I had no idea at the time. Garen Windspear is the lord of this area, and long story short, he has a blood feud with another person named Lord Jirdan Furkrog. At first, you understand their problems to be a territory dispute, but after Furkrog kidnaps Garen's son, you're tasked with retrieving him. Just north of Garen's home, I find the ruins where his son is being held. Inside are all manner of nasty creatures, hobgoblins, orcs, werewolves, children, and even a giant adamantine golem that I can't lay a finger on since our weapons are still pretty shit. By the time our party reaches Garen's son, we're told to confront Furkrog in the next room. I was a little bit paranoid considering how big and open this room was, and after a few more feet, my suspicions were confirmed. Lord Jirdan Furkrog is actually a gigantic red dragon. I guess Garen just forgot to mention that before he sent us in here. How convenient. With the stupidity of 1,000 kobolds, I attempt to take on Furkrog, even though he gave me an opportunity to leave. I'll just play the clip. "Have at ye, kidnapper of children! Your evil deeds will not go unpunished." Oh, fuck! I don't think we're supposed to be fighting him yet, guys. This feels kind of impossible at this stage in the game. Yep, there you go.
GG.
He's obviously not meant to be fought quite yet, so we settle for his second in command, which still somehow manages to kill a few of us. I went ahead and tried the spell Dispel Magic for the first time, and moving forward, I always made sure at least one character had it. With Garen's son returned, we complete the quest and get a fairly hefty payout. We can always come back and fight Furkrog later, and I intend to. I went straight back to town and started identifying all of the cool new weapons we had found. We're already at 15,000 gold, and if you negotiate the price down, it's technically enough to go ahead and save Imoen, but I'd rather do a bit more exploring. We need at least one other party member, so we pick up Animen, a fighter cleric. Afterwards, the party moved on to do the Shade Lord mission. I didn't really care for this one, to be honest. The Shadow Dragon was super cool, but the boss at the end was just a bit too easy. The Diarnis Hold mission was up next, and this one was pretty great due to the sheer amount of loot you get from it. A wealthy family's castle is beset by trolls, and it's up to us to save its lord and anyone else still alive. The trolls are actually pretty tough since they can only be killed using acid or fire damage. Thankfully, the devs put a lot of fire arrows throughout the castle. When I reached the second floor, I found a room full of loot that once stolen would activate some golems that were way too tough for us to kill. However, once per day my character is able to haste himself, allowing me to yoink the loot and run away.
Oh my god, they're so... Oh my god. Guys, we gotta run! We gotta leave! I fucked up!
By the time we made it to the final boss, he had already killed Lord Diarnis. His daughter didn't seem that beat up about it, considering she immediately asked to join the party. Sorry, we're a bit full at the time, and we really don't need a thief in the party. Of course, I crafted the Flail of Ages by grabbing all the heads from around the hole. This weapon was so effective, Animen uses it all the way up until the end of the game.
Okay, we're going to trade meet. We're going to trade meet because I looked up online that there's a really good club, and I want a really good club for Jaheira because I'm not happy with what she has. Oh!
The mission for the genies was whatever, but watching Jaheira 1v1 another Shadow Druid leader was incredibly cool. The city of Trade Meet was so thankful for our help. They held a massive party in our name and even erected statues of our likeness in the middle of town.
Mike Hawk, hero of Trade Meet. Follower. That's funny. They're just called followers. But this is me! It's my likeness, made into a statue.
Now that this random unnamed merchant's inventory can be accessed, I bought Jaheira, the Blackblood Club, and for myself, the Tansharon Bow. Finally, after roughly 17 hours of what seemed like non-stop side quests, I'm ready to move the story forward. I should mention that I barely scratched the surface here. There were still tons of missions I could have done before moving forward, but I was getting sick of not having a mage in the party, and I really would like to have Imoen back now. Once you turn in the reduced amount of 15,000 gold to Galen Bale, he introduces you to the head of the Shadow Thieves. They apologize for essentially taking your gold because they have no intention of helping you until their guild war with the vampires is settled. After running a few errands, you're eventually tasked with venturing to the Athkatla graveyard to kill the vampires and end this conflict. They were kind enough to give us some wooden stakes, because once you kill a vampire, they turn to mist and return to their resting place. It's only here that you can stake them in the heart, killing them for good. The leader of the vampires reveals themselves as Bodhi. She's actually got a really cool character portrait. I wonder what the full art looks like.
What? It's just an ordinary crabby. Oh my goodness!
Unfortunately, it comes to blows, and we manage to beat her without any issues. This is also the area where we find the Mace of Disruption, which is arguably one of the best weapons in the entire game. It's capable of destroying undead in a single hit if they fail a saving throw. And in Baldur's Gate 2, you're fighting a shit ton of undead. Once the mission is turned in, the Shadow Thieves are ready to take us to where Imoen and Irenicus are being held, a place called Spellhole. It's an island where the cowled wizards imprison magic folk that are too dangerous. Once you leave for Spellhole, the next two chapters don't allow you to come back to Athkatla, so we made sure to do a bit more adventuring. I went ahead and did the serial killer investigation mission, which was definitely one of my favorites. Your objective is to find out who's been killing and skinning people in the bridge district of the city. They did a good job with the investigation portion, but when the murderer runs away to trade meat, the mission just kinda ends there. It felt like this was setting up for something big, like a confrontation in a dungeon or something, but then ended up falling flat with an anticlimactic resolution. It was still pretty fun. The whole thing felt very inspired by Silence of the Lambs. One boat trip later, and our heroes arrive at the docks of Spellhold. Walking through the front door is unfortunately not an option, but the Pirate King located here is friends with Yoshi, and as a favor to him, he's willing to sneak us in. Within seconds of arriving, we find Imoen, whose mind has been completely broken. Irenicus then reveals himself. While we've been trying to save Imoen, Irenicus has already managed to kill and usurp the entirety of Spellhold to resume his experiments. This is also where it's revealed that Yoshi, the bounty hunter, has betrayed our party.
No! I knew I hated you. I knew it. Here's the second Imoen was gonna join our party, this ass was getting the boot, dude. He was gonna be long gone. He's weak. He's always the one taking the L in these fights. Yoshimo, there is nothing redeeming about you. I don't even care that you're betraying us. If anything, it makes it easier to open up a slot for Imoen. You're such a rat. You little rat. Oh, okay, maybe I am a little perturbed. You will hear the name traitor many more times today, Yoshimo, but let me be the first among the group to spit at you! Spit at him!
Turns out Yoshimo had poisoned our food on the trip here, and we fall into a deep sleep. When we awaken, Irenicus has attached me to a bizarre machine that when activated brings me inside my own soul. There I am confronted with my dastardly heritage, and it's trying to kill me. Once defeated, it's revealed that I've only continued to play right into Irenicus's plot. He's stolen my soul from my body, and therefore all powers I had obtained up until this point. He plans to use its power to get himself closer to becoming a god. Everything goes dark, and when I wake up, Bodhi explains that she plans to toy with me before she kills us. Imoen has finally joined the party, comfortably taking Yoshi's spot. I've been storing a shit ton of scrolls for this exact moment, and it gives us a pretty decent boost to XP. Finally, we have a mage that can haste us and cast all manner of broken spells. This dungeon we found ourselves trapped in was actually pretty interesting. It had a ton of loot in it, but above all else, it had a seemingly endless amount of puzzles and riddles. Near the end, Bodhi confronts us, ready to finish what she started. We're having little trouble fighting her back, but the tide really turns when my character morphs into a four-armed monster.
What the hell is that? What is this? That's me? What is happening, bruh? Bro, look at me. Wait, no, I'm attacking people. Stop. What am I doing? Oh my god, that's... That's the Slayer form!
There's a lot of pros and cons of using my Slayer form, and the game makes it obvious that this was meant to be used by those doing an evil playthrough. The moment I saw this, it made me regret doing a chaotic good playthrough. I never had this feeling in Baldur's Gate 1, but for Shadows of Alm, I am undoubtedly doing an evil playthrough when this is done. We're back where we started and not nearly strong enough to fight Irenicus ourselves. Instead, we grab all the other crazy wizards that were trapped here. Irenicus did not see this coming and gets close to losing his life. Of course, he just teleports away, leaving us trapped in Spellhold with no way to leave. But hey, we got to kill Yoshimo, and that's good enough for now.
Okay, what is this? Yoshimo's heart. Okay, so he had a Gias on him, which I guess that's supposed to be his justification for betraying the party. But guess what? In the first game, we were able to pretty easily remove a Gias. So he could have just had it removed. As far as I can tell, he could have told us or something. I mean, he didn't have to do what he did. I have no regrets, honestly, and I'm not taking the gas off of this. He can just suffer for eternity for all I care.
The captain who brought us here offers to teleport us to safety, but considering he betrayed us once already, I'm in no position to trust him. Instead, we jump through this random portal and hope for the best. Hot on Irenicus's trail, we find ourselves in the Underdark. I don't want to overhype this, but the Baldur's Gate 2 depiction of the Underdark is not only my favorite place in this game, but it may very well be my favorite place in all of gaming, rivaled only by the underwater world of Rapture from the BioShock series. You see more of the diversity and creativity of the D&D universe in this one map than anywhere else, and I can't get enough of it. I'm underground for only a few minutes before being set upon by a drow patrol. Their armor and weapons are made out of adamantine, and they're decently stronger than what most of us are using. I make a mistake here and gear everyone in the adamantine armor while also selling their old equipment. Hours later, I actually read the armor and realized that when I leave the Underdark, this armor will turn to dust. I ended up wasting so much money buying back their old equipment. It was certainly a learning experience. After helping some deep gnomes kill a literal demon, we find ourselves at the gate of a drow city. Thank God I checked this cave next door instead of moving forward. Inside is a beautiful silver dragon, and she needs our help. The matron mother of the drow city has stolen her eggs to prevent her from interfering with their plans with Irenicus. If we're able to get the eggs back, she promised us some powerful loot and to send us to the surface where the evil wizard is now dwelling. The opportunity to assist a dragon is reward enough, and we accept the mission. Using her magic, she changes our appearance to that of a drow patrol so we can infiltrate the city and earn their trust. I love the developers for this opportunity because they give us this chance to observe drow society by actually taking part in it. The city of Usnatha is a wonder to behold in all its gothic beauty. As soon as we arrive, we're being sent to save the matron's daughter from a group of mind flayers. Using a handful of powerful summons, our team is able to fight back the mind flayer menace and save Feyre. You would think she'd be grateful, but in drow society, men live only to serve their female overlords, and our actions are seen as nothing more than the duty we were born with. Feyre gives us a few days to rest and relax before she needs us again, and I take this opportunity to explore. Literally, the very first place that I stumble into happens to be a mind flayer colony. Our heroes are briskly captured and forced to fight as slaves for their entertainment. Some Githyanki next door hatch a plan for escape, and of course we agree to help. While the Githyanki use their psychic prowess to protect us from mind control, we liberate the other slaves and prepare to fight back. We happen upon some mind control collars that were being used on the slaves, and hatch an idea to instead use them on the mind flayers. Once we've captured one, it opens up the rest of the city for us to begin our search for the Elder Brain. I really struggled with this next part. The mind flayers attack in groups, stunning your team, then one-shotting them with Extract Brain. By luring them out in small groups, we have a much easier time and finally reach the Elder Brain. We died a few times, but once again, using a handful of summons, we're able to spread aggro and take down the Illithid menace.
Nice, one more. Come on. Don't lose Animan. Not our boy. Oh. Holy shit, that was so difficult.
We arrive back in Usnatha, and Feyre commands that we kill her ex-lover in an attempt to weaken his house. Of course, when we arrive, we let him live and escape to a life of exile instead.
Oh no, is she about to jump my bones? I don't know. I wish I could probe the audience right now. She wants to smash. Let's see what happens. An evening with Feyre is worth more than an eternity with all other women. Come, I'm anxious to begin. I gotta do what I gotta do to maintain my cover, obviously.
After reporting back, we meet with the matron mother, who's asking for some elder brain juice. How convenient, we just so happen to have some. Feyre explains that the matron mother plans to use the brain juice to summon a lesser demon strong enough to assist them in starting a war with the surface. The silver dragon eggs will be used as an offering to gain the favor of the demon. Since the drow are constantly plotting against one another, Feyre Feyre asks us to replace the eggs with fake ones so that the matron mother is killed by the demon. We agree, and on our way to the temple, the drow we spared earlier gives us an additional fake pair of eggs. That way, both Feyre and the matron mother will perish under the demon's rage. The plot unfolds exactly how we planned. The demon is summoned, insulted, and kills both of the ignorant drow leaders. The real eggs are returned to the silver dragon, and she thanks us by giving us a crossbow that no one can use. Holding true to her promise, she teleports us topside. I want to say that I had planned on exploring more of the Underdark, but I was running out of time to get the game finished. I have every intention of going back and exploring the other sections that I missed. As sunlight graces our skin for the first time in weeks, we're immediately arrested by elves. Irenicus has begun an assault on the elven city of Sol Denesalar. A powerful magic is keeping anyone from entering or leaving the city. One of the elven generals surmises that Bodhi, the baddie, has stolen a special lamp they need to gain access. But before we do that, I've got an old score I'd like to settle.
He's almost dead. Come on, everybody. He's almost dead. Oh, he's dead! We got him! We killed Ferkrag!
The loot he drops is really something special. Too bad it's a two-handed sword used by only like 3 classes. We killed the Shadow Dragon as well, and it proved to be even easier than Ferkrag. Using the scales from both dragons, we stopped by a special smith in the Docks district of Athkatla. For a decent sum of gold, he fashions us 2 of the most powerful sets of armor in the game. A plate set for my old friend Minsk, and a leather set for myself. The rest of Chapter 6 is essentially hunting down and killing Bodhi at her regular spot here in the Athkatla graveyards. Once the lamp is returned, we're teleported to the ancient elven city. The beautiful view is immediately soured by the distant screams of innocent men, women, and children being slaughtered at the hands of Irenicus's followers. After saving an elven priest, we're tasked with obtaining 3 relics that can be used to summon the avatar of Rilliphane. This avatar is our only hope to breach the magical barrier Irenicus has placed on the main temple. I'm able to obtain the first 2 fairly easy, but the last is guarded by a black dragon. What a sight to behold. He's surely too strong for us. If only there was some sort of high-level spell that allows you to insta-kill anything that's alive. Rilliphane's avatar clears the way and we confront Irenicus. He reveals that he plans to drain the Tree of Life and use its power to finally ascend to godhood. We also discover that both Bodhi and Irenicus used to be high-ranking elves in this very city, before their lust for power got them exiled for life. Using every bit of strength I have left in my soulless, wilting body, I try to stop his evil plot. He's incredibly strong, with the capability to cast things like Stop Time, Power Word Kill, and all other manner of ridiculously overpowered spells. Using our tried and true method of spamming summons, we're able to finish him off and save the elves. As Irenicus perishes, he drags our team to hell with him. And I gotta say, this is such a badass and cinematic way to finish the story. I loved this. Before we can face Jonalith, yes, that's his real name, we have to confront different evil facets of my soul, such as greed and pride. The choices you make here are obviously geared towards your character's alignment, but this gives you a chance to either embrace the power offered by the Lord of Murder or refuse it. Since I'm a goody two-shoes, I of course refuse the power of my lineage. The real final fight begins as Jonalith Irenicus transforms into the Slayer and summons powerful demons to fight alongside him. After his demonic helpers are dead, we're able to easily trade aggro between characters until the evil wizard has finally been defeated. I touched on this briefly at the start of the video, but I had more fun exploring this world made 23 years ago than I do a lot of other modern fantasy RPGs. Baldur's Gate 1 was good, and I did truly enjoy it, but it doesn't even come close to the amount of insane things you get to experience in Shadows of Amn. Baldur's Gate 2 now sits firmly in my top 5 video games of all time, And you can bet your ass the second I post this video, I'm gonna be loading up a brand new chaotic evil paladin or mage or something. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Shout out to members for supporting the channel. Thank you so incredibly much. Members get perks like additional uploads, early ad-free access to our regular uploads, and a member's badge. If you're interested in becoming a member, check the description for more details. I'll see you all in the next one. Later.